Hey everyone, welcome to the Horror PSA presented by Scary Nerd, and as always, we are your hosts. I'm Paul.
I'm Saul.
And I'm Angie.
The following is a public service announcement.
A special military unit fights a powerful, out-of-control supercomputer and hundreds of scientists who have mutated into flesh-eating creatures after a laboratory accident. That's right, we watched the 2002 Resident Evil film that started the franchise.
I love this movie.
The film franchise, anyway.
Yes.
I love this one out of all of, what is it, 7?
Is it 7
I
now?
I think it's like 7. I've lost count, but
I've seen 3
No,
or 4
but anyway, shut up, you two. Welcome back to the Horror PSA. It is Zombie Jesus month, and we are doing our
For the
full
zombies.
month of zombie movies.
For the zombies hath risen.
Yes. So this week we are doing Resident Evil, like Paul said, from 2002. So
it still holds up. Still holds
I
up
love
really,
this
really well.
The CGI doesn't.
the CGI does not.
But it's 20 years old.
Yeah,
So, I mean,
CGI.
I mean, what do you expect from CGI from literally 20 years ago?
Yeah, no,
So-
this movie was like a formative film for me because it came out when I was in high school, and so I was like, the zombie movies.
There are some parts in this movie where I'm like, it feels very independent and George Romero to me.
Yes.
Like the JD's death scene.
Yeah.
It's in the elevator or whatever when he opens it and like they all swarm him and pull him in.
Oh yeah,
That's
big
very
swarm scene.
very Romero, like independent, because that whole kind of like they did the silent kind of screaming
Yeah,
thing,
and there's like a
it's
color
yeah,
overlay to it.
yeah,
That's
there's
different.
it's like a little
a
less
blue
saturated.
hue,
Like they just
yeah.
kind of desaturate a little bit, and it just gives it that independent, like raw kind of feel. And there's other parts that are like, all right, obviously this is, video game stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I love this movie because it's one of the, in my opinion, one of the very few video game movies that actually translated well.
See, I never played the video game, but I loved this movie.
See, it borrowed elements from the video game, so it wasn't a direct like video game movie adaptation.
Yeah.
Like it took the core elements and put them in the movie. They got ridiculous after the fact when you had all the ridiculous sequels, but this one holds up really, really well with what it borrowed from the game.
Yeah, I liked this one, and I didn't mind 2. I actually liked 2. I thought Omar Epps was hilarious, but 3 by 3, you're just like, what happened?
When they gave her powers is, I think, when you kind of, jump the shark? Yeah, she gets powers.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, because in
She
the
gets
third one, she
telematic powers.
like makes fire all these birds or some shit.
you're talking
I
about the
think-
movie, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about the movie.
Yeah,
'Cause
in
I never
in
played the
movie.
game,
Yeah,
and I don't
didn't
remember
either.
the movies in order at all. I remember
That's the thing about
there's one in Vegas. I remember there's
The
one
Vegas
where,
is the third one,
where
I
she's
believe.
a clone. I think I don't know. Like there's
Here's the thing about what makes the sequels not that memorable is they all kind of fall in. You forget which one was which, because I remember I had a conversation about my friend whether he had seen a certain one or not, and I'm like, well, did you remember this part? He's like, no, I don't remember that. And I'm like, okay, you haven't seen this one then. And everything just kind of falls in line because once, like I said, once she gets the powers, it's like, okay, it just goes off the deep end.
Yeah.
I never made it to the telekinetic.
Yes, you did.
powers.
We saw that one in
Are you
theaters
sure?
together. Yes, that's the Vegas one.
Yeah,
She gets
them-
powers
Yeah,
in
she
the-
gets
Yes.
powers
I
in the
don't
Vegas
remember how
one.
that one ends.
Yeah. Well, I believe that was when we were doing our lunch dates and we were getting pretty drunk before
Okay.
going to the
I might
films.
have fallen asleep.
This was pre-kids, so
so yeah.
yeah. But yeah, I like this first one. I do. I loved, and Michelle Rodriguez is such a badass in this one. She really is.
Yeah.
She's such a badass.
She is, but isn't.
No, I loved her.
There's one
She was
part where
like-
I'm like, just sit down, Pipsqueak.
Yeah.
Like, just shut the fuck
I
up.
hated that they kept giving her those parts because they kept giving her like, I can't open this door, like all those stupid parts. So you could tell like there was definitely hints of that written into the script
Yeah.
because that's how women have to be written.
But the one thing that I thought was funny,
Take
like,
it up with-
spoiler alert, was how
Husband.
she's one of the ones that got bit the most, but yet she makes it to the
She
end.
did. She did get bit.
No,
the
I don't
most.
know. Between her and fucking the IT guy Kaplan, I'm like,
Yeah,
that
Kaplan.
motherfucker was bit like 30 times. Like there was scenes in like when they were climbing the pipes and all that.
And he's getting bit.
Well, yeah, I'm like he's just in there bit, and then 2 seconds later he's up in the pipe, and I'm like, what the fuck? How many lives does this guy have?
Yep.
Got them all. Yeah.
He can't even use his legs at one point, and he's still like fucking just.
I love when they first of all this movie made me realize that I'm not a follower. Never going to be a follower. So I was in high school. So I was like, perfect, formative movie.
Yeah.
But when they went in there and they're like, my team was dispatched to see why the fail-safe didn't work. And I was like, maybe we should just let the fail safely. We should just leave it alone.
I know. And like, at what point do you realize that they sent you because you are expendable? Like,
yes.
You're literally like, they don't care what happens to you.
What they should have realized before they even went in, because you get this towards the end of the movie, they're like, well, somebody's going to come get you guys, right? You guys have backup or whatever. He's like, no, we're the fail-safe. If we fail.
Yeah, that was the second, like, oh shit, who wants to tell them? Moment of the movie.
Yeah, they're like, remember
them
those
as the
big
team
doors?
should have realized they don't care about us.
I'm like, you guys should, as the team, be like, oh, the Red Queen killed everyone. We don't need to see why.
Just open the doors, hang out for a bit. Be like, yeah, but everyone's dead. I don't know. Shut
man.
it down.
Yeah.
Like, what do you?
Yeah, like what?
Okay, she came down and killed everyone. So you think you thought this through, and we're like, yep. So even though she's still active, we're gonna get all the way to her to shut her down without her doing anything to us.
Everything about the Hive to me, I'm like, this is very fucking Death Star fucking.
Oh yeah,
just the worst design.
That one shoot.
Like did someone design this with the sole purpose of destroying it one day, like the Death Star? I mean, the fucking the flaw in the whole Star Wars thing was so bad they had to make a whole other movie years and years later to be like, look, this is why there was that huge plot hole. We explained it finally. But yeah, like everything about the Hive, I'm like, so it's got to be at the very fucking bottom of the Hive, and of course she's still active, but you can't communicate with her. And don't you think that, okay, maybe we designed it that if we close those fucking doors, like there's a fucking reason we want those doors to be closed.
We should let it fail safely.
Let's not
it's
open
in the name, guys.
Yeah, let's not open the fucking doors and be like, all right, what happened? Like, well, I don't know. Usually she'll shut everything down if there's an airborne disease. Like, okay, then let's not open
We're
the
just
fucking
going to
doors.
see why she killed everybody. Maybe there's a reason, guys. There's got to be a reason. Maybe we should just IT this. Maybe get the black box information from the Red Queen.
Let's wait a week or a month.
Well, the thing that they could have thought about, too, is, okay, why don't we just get somebody to hack the feed and figure out what the fuck is going on?
Exactly. Like, they couldn't look inside. There was feeds everywhere.
There was no way to communicate with anything that was going on. Like, that's the one thing I'm like, come on. Like,
if they know they killed everybody, obviously they've got to be looking, and I would assume that they would. And I don't know, like, again, as Umbrella, right? It fails. We're like, maybe that one we just close off. Like, we know what's going on.
Because as we
there.
come to find out, there's more than one Hive around. Around
like,
the world.
So maybe,
right? So it's like, okay,
maybe we just,
It goes back to fucking the Crazies when he's like, we lost a plane, man.
We lost a plane.
What do you want me to say?
We closed that Hive and we just pretend that never happened.
Hey, the only people that know about it are people in other hives, or the people that are down there who are never going to tell anyone.
They said that they lived and worked there, right?
In Raccoon City. So yeah, and much like the Crazies, you could just say, oh, there's a big explosion in Raccoon City, everybody died. We're going to move the whole town.
Well, that's what they do in the second one anyway.
Is that what they do?
Yeah.
Okay.
So because in the second one,
that's what it alludes to at the end, right?
Yeah.
Like she gets out and she goes, and they're actually in the city.
Yeah, because at the end of this one, they're like, nope, reopen those doors again. We need to see what's inside.
Yeah, because
no, guys.
Yeah, because and so in the second one, if I remember correctly, like the town is like sealed off.
Yeah.
And then she's there, and then it's almost like I feel like it reminded me of like Escape from New York. Yeah, like it's kind of that feel of like they're stuck in the town, but they kind of make their way.
And Raccoon City, and so do they live in that place then?
I think they just work there.
I think they probably they live in the Hive.
Yeah,
maybe.
Because I mean, were they going in and out of the mansion every day?
No, the mansion was way away.
The mansion was like the fail safe.
Yeah, the other second entrance. So
that was the emergency entrance.
Where's
there was
facility
the
to
building.
Get all the people down.
It showed
there.
a building.
Did it?
Yeah. I thought there was like an above ground building, and then you would go in the building, and then you'd go down.
I guess
because the Hive was under the entire Raccoon City. So Paul's right. There was a building above it because the mansion was like.
And have you ever met scientists? Like,
no.
I can't believe scientists are out there like shooting things in rabbits. I've seen scientists, and they're like, "Oh, look at a rabbit!" Like, they're not going to shoot a rabbit full of stuff.
But you also think about like TV scientists?
Yeah.
Or
No,
are you
I'm thinking about like real life
scientists?
scientists that I've seen in college.
Okay, but these aren't the people that can be bought. Okay,
All right, fair enough.
So in
Yeah.
every, just think of like in every occupation, you know, there's people that can be bought
And as
and turned evil.
as I've already said, I'm not one of those people, so I don't
And you get
associate with those
desensitized.
people.
But the other thing about it, though, too, you got to remember, whatever profession you're into, you get desensitized to whatever the awe or whatever need be of it is.
That's true.
So to them, it's like, okay, injecting a rabbit, injecting a dog, or whatever need be. To them, it's like, okay.
Plus, aren't like smart people? Don't they always say like super smart people always have like it rises their narcissism as well?
Oh yeah, and there's always a link between narcissism and personality disorders, which create serial killers. But anywho, back to zombies.
So they're killing rabbits, and it doesn't make a difference. See, what's the difference? They're all playing God.
So yeah, the hive was very terribly like their one level floods, and that closes off the whole pathway that Kaplan had.
And those 3 people that got drowned, like they drowned in the flood.
There was
Yeah.
more than 3 people.
I thought there were. Okay, well, there was,
It was like a whole room.
No,
It was
there
a whole
just
room,
3.
but I think
Yeah.
there was just 3 scientists in there.
Yeah, in that one room.
Yeah, because it showed them walk in together.
Yeah.
It was just the 3.
Yeah. No, but the first thought was like, oh no, the computers, the laptops are experiment. I'm like, it's gonna flood here. Like, guys,
Well, that one guy finally realized it because
Yeah.
he's like, the water's not getting out.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
it's
but
not-
okay, it was barely up to their knees, and he was starting to crack it. I'm like, what happened the rest of the time? Did you get tired and give up?
No,
I
they
think
gassed him.
They
Remember?
gassed him, yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
It's
She
like
gassed him.
gas.
She lowered the oxygen and like
That's right.
raised whatever
That's
need
right.
be to make everybody pass out. Because she realized, okay, they're gonna find a way to get out, so I gotta knock them out.
That's right.
They're like ants at that point, and you must gas them.
Yeah, well, it's basically a big ant farm.
It really is.
It's the
Yeah.
hive. Mm-hmm. It's an ant hive. I don't know.
But I love
the
this
hive?
movie. The music, the soundtrack, amazing.
Even though he's a shit person now, though, they
Yeah.
did have Marilyn Manson contribute to the movie, not the movie soundtrack, the movie
Score.
score.
Him and a composer
Yeah.
worked together on the music for this.
I just love the creepy eeriness of the music.
Didn't Slipknot? They have a song on the
Yeah,
soundtrack.
they had a song
and I
on
thought
the
they
soundtrack.
did some stuff with the soundtrack as well.
They were on the soundtrack. It was very new metal, heavy metal soundtrack.
It was, and in 2000,
What's
that
the
was my
heyday, yeah.
vibe. Yes.
But yeah, again, Angie, I'm with you. This movie, like a lot of people, it's their guilty pleasure. If this movie's on, I love this movie.
It's not a guilty pleasure. This is just a pleasure. I would
Yes.
tell everyone I love this movie.
And it's one of the, like I said, it's just one of those, it holds up minus the CGI, like Paul said. It holds up still.
It does. It has a good creep factor. I've seen this movie too many times now,
Yes.
so I can foresee everything that's coming. And after you've seen a movie that many times,
Yeah.
anything can become cheese.
I'd love to see a 4K restoration where they update the CGI on all this.
That would be nice,
I
especially
mean,
with the.
if they could. I mean, depending on the footage between the CGI and like their actual animatronic or whatever, like puppet they use
Oh,
for
Yeah.
for
the liquor?
for the liquor. Yeah,
I loved those the liquor moments when they do the up close and it's just meat.
Yeah.
Like those
Yeah.
those are well done. I loved those, especially when they cut the CGI and practical together when it after it eats Spence
Yeah.
and it's what's it called, mutating.
Yeah,
It's
it's mutating.
mutating.
yeah.
And so they cut together those scenes of like the meat and the CGI, and I loved it back then because the CGI wasn't so terrible.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it still does hold up because
You couldn't
you're getting
see how terrible the CGI really was. is
But
the
like,
problem.
even now with the practical on there, you're like, okay, I see what it is. Like it's fine. It's not
Yeah.
it's not horrible.
The one thing I
saying,
do have to
it's-
bring up,
it's not bad. I mean, it's like I said, it's 20 years old. So
the guy who played Matt, you know how we did the Crow movie last week?
Yeah.
He plays the Crow in the third one.
which one was Matt?
Matt was
Right.
the brother of the girl who worked there.
Oh,
Put him in the
he's-
Nemesis program.
Yeah, he's the one of the final guys, the one who got
Yeah.
scratched. Yeah, he was the Crow in the third.
I can't
wow.
see that at all, nor do I want to.
Yeah, I think I'm crowded.
I said to him last night when he grabs her at one point, and I'm like, "Don't touch me, Brent." This white dude with this terrible hair. Who are you? I don't know who you are. Don't touch me.
Okay, so Spence was the husband, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so here's my thing. Like, we come to find out they're like basically security pretending to be married just so they can protect this secret entrance to the hive, right?
Yeah.
But the whole plan is like she's gonna give it up to this girl who works for this company that wants to bring down the hive or the umbrella.
They want to bring down the umbrella.
So basically, it comes out like he wants to sell it to somebody. Like he has a buyer lined up, right? He said,
he wants to sell the virus.
Yeah, he just wants to sell it.
Where do you find something like that? Because I'm always like if I was just like a regular dude, like imagine you're just some janitor at the the umbrella corporation. And they're like, hey. I found this thing. I want to sell it. Like, who do you fuck? Because I think of like Office.
You can't put it on eBay.
Google black market and you figure out how to get to there.
Because I think about Office Space when fucking Orlando Jones was like, hello, my name is Steve, and I was addicted to crack cocaine, but now I sell magazines. Be like, hey, we need money laundering. We're like, okay, no, that's not really what I am. But I'm like, who the fuck do you turn to be like, I have virus I want to sell?
Is there like
anyone?
You go to the library and you Google how to find the black market.
A black market.
You stand
Craigslist.
you stand in the corner and somewhere in New York. Near
another corporation.
Near the United Nations when they're having like a big summit, and you're like, T-virus, T-virus. Fake IDs.
Before the war broke out, you could just go to Russia, but well, now that was the standard.
Well, I don't know.
movie.
2002, you might have been able to just email and nobody was fucking.
You really
checking
could
it.
have. You really could
You
have.
could have sold it on Craigslist.
This was pre-Obama, so they weren't going through stuff yet.
No, because this was after 9/11, so Patriot Act was in the works. So I don't know, man. So
I don't think the Patriot Act got approved until 2002, though.
I don't know.
So I mean, it still could have been kind of close. But anyway, you could have emailed Russia, just been like, Russia, look, I got some stuff.
How much you willing to pay?
And I mean,
see, I thought of like
because of movies like this and movies in general, like Born Identity, I always assume that any spy for any country is just like waiting for another country to offer them money to switch sides.
They're like,
I don't want to do this anymore. Who's going to pay me more?
There's no honor among thieves.
No,
what are you saying? No honor among assassins.
After you've killed people for your country or you've done terrible things for your country, at what point you're just like, fuck it, I'll do terrible things for any country. It just depends on who pays me more.
Okay, I've done enough for my country now. I want to get paid, is what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean,
no, I thought of like,
again, I'm not a follower.
Okay,
so.
I thought of like when he was talking about like, how much I can get paid for this? Like, I have a buyer, we'll be rich and this and that. And I was like, when what's her say? The Red Queen, she mentions like we do this, like, and it's warfare applications or whatever, military applications. I think she says, and I'm like, imagine a world where like that was our nukes instead.
Zombies.
Yes, like you just drop the T virus instead, and it's like boom, everyone.
Zombies / lickers everywhere.
There you go.
Yeah, like just ridiculous. Like that's like.
Well, but that would be like you'd have to do that very carefully because you'd take over whole fucking continents, and then the face of it spreading to your own. Like,
what I'm saying, you're in the middle of a battlefield, right? And there's a bunch of dead people. You drop a T-virus, and now it's soldiers that are recently dead and woke up, and now they're fighting their own soldiers.
Yeah, again, you would have to.
That's what I'm saying.
Do that so your own alive soldiers don't get infected, and that's.
Well, if you know you're going to drop it, why would you have your guys there? That's what I'm saying.
And again, you'd have to have a quarantine area so that it wouldn't spread.
Okay,
it's far too. The implications are too dire, Paul.
Okay.
No.
You know that they're a little more sophisticated than what you're giving credit for.
Have you seen our people who run our government and people who run other governments?
I'm talking about the actual military operations, not the people that are making the decisions, like the people that can fly the drones.
Not
and, like,
the people making the decisions, just the ones.
Okay, so let's get back to the movie and their infiltration of the hive.
They just go there and open the door. It's not really. They have to just open that one door, and I was like, that's it.
A few of my favorite scenes of the movie is when they get to the hive part, because they're trying to figure out how to get to the room, and then when you see the light and it starts.
The little girl, you mean?
No, not the little girl. When they get to the part where they get to the room, they're like, why? It's like the lights are on. I was like, oh, it's just probably automatic, and it closes the door on them. They're like, oh shit.
When they're in the elevator?
No, not in the.
Like right when they're trying to get out.
Yeah, when they're trying to get in. No, where the thing is, like, you know how they try to hack the door, they got into the door, and then they.
Oh, you're talking about the Red Queen's door.
Yeah, the
not
Red
the
Queen.
Door
yeah, the
into
Red Queen door.
Oh, okay.
That's like one of my favorite scenes in the movie, because they got to get to the Red Queen room, and then the door automatically locks, which right there should be like, uh-oh, that shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, okay. Here's my thing about that part. So Kaplan's the IT guy, right? Like, he does the computers. He
I
does all
love
this
they're
shit.
just like, Kaplan, open the fucking door.
Like he's the guy that does this shit, right? I'm like, don't you know what's on the other side of this door? Like, shouldn't there be like, okay, here's your briefing. You got to go through this hallway.
They didn't give these people
And
briefings, or these people wouldn't be in here, Paul.
There's defense mechanism, which is
A light
basically
laser.
lasers that will just slice right through you.
But see, even then, though, if you're thinking at a company, there's going to be certain fail-safes you're not going to disclose with people because you don't ever
But then
think of that.
why even send them in there?
But here's my thing: if this fail safe for the Red Queen is you have to go in there and hook up this fucking like this giant, PS2
Yeah.
on 3 sides,
What's the giant?
so you can reboot the fucking computer. Why make it that there's a failsafe that the computer can fucking activate to keep you from doing that makes one of the guys fucking beef stew cubes?
beef stew.
The one thing that I did,
I love that his eyes run.
I love that.
It looks like a runny egg.
And then the other thing that I realized too, if we go back on it because of multiple viewings, there was another area they could have gone into because it starts at one point and it ends at one point.
Yeah.
And if you get to the
Yeah, if he would have stayed by the door.
if he would have stayed by the door, he would have been fine on either side of the door because
Yeah.
there's that one area where it's like, oh shit.
There was like a small
Yeah, there was
section.
it was like, why not just go that way when you saw the dude's hand get chopped off and that one girl get her head cut off?
I know. I love it. It's like medic. I'm like, you really think that bitch who's standing there? I mean, you see this this man's fingers are gone.
But
Like,
my other favorite part of not too long after that scene is when they leave and they come back to that room and one Kaplan was like, what happened to the bodies? Like, where did the bodies go?
where do you think they went?
And I love that joke because in the video game, or pretty much any video game, if you leave an area and you come back, all the bodies are gone.
Yeah, it's pretty standard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The flashback scenes that she was having when she was regaining like her memory of meeting her contact,
Yeah.
Matt's sister, whoever the fuck her name was.
Lisa.
That was very video game-ish to me too.
Oh,
Especially
yeah,
in
those-
those eras. Because like
Yeah.
I think back on like the first Metal Gear Solid and they
Yeah.
have those clips of like actual footage of stuff.
Yeah,
and,
no,
like,
yeah.
show you like here's what happened.
The new Jumanji makes fun of those scenes, those cut scenes. They're like, oh yeah, we're in a cut scene. You can't do anything. You just have to watch.
Expose.
Yeah, no, I love the scene, like I said, with the lasers and everything. I thought that was so cool.
Beef cubes.
Beef cubes,
Beef
yes.
stew cubes,
But that was a standard thing in the 2000s. We had this one. We had another.
You mean the lasers or
The lasers are getting
Death by
cut in
laser?
half, or
entrapment? Is
yeah.
what I think of
There you
lasers.
go.
Like no, I was thinking 13 Ghosts with the lawyer who
Oh,
gets
yeah.
sliced in half.
That's right.
Yeah, but you had a lot of those. It was like,
There's another one
Death
that
by
I think.
laser.
mincemeat of the
Yes.
body.
Yeah, there was oh, what was that one? Didn't they do like a glass thing with in that movie The Cell with like a horse or something?
Yeah,
Like they
yeah,
cut
yeah.
something in half.
Yeah,
and,
they like
spread it out.
Yes,
Like it's like a
the
horse.
Cell. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
random one. We need to revisit that one. It's been
I have
too long.
not seen that movie in like 20 some years, I think.
Yeah, the beef
So,
cubes.
Yeah, The Cell might be a movie one might have to revisit.
yeah,
I don't
definitely
remember
for
it
sure.
that well.
Neither do I. I know I
It's
saw
gonna
it, but
be
I
like
don't.
the first
I don't
time
yeah.
Yeah, really.
I've regrown my cell virginity. Regrew my cell virginity.
I forgot how fast this movie goes by, though.
yeah.
Like, especially, I haven't seen it in years, but I've seen it so many times. It's like,
I love it every time.
It's an hour 40, it says. But
Yeah.
it like
It's
I think
paced
it's one of
really,
those
really
movies
well.
where stuff starts happening right away and like
Yeah.
it just keeps you going and like you don't have time to like stop and think like, oh, it's been an hour and a half already.
Yeah.
Like there's a couple of all right, the one cringeworthy thing about this movie that I absolutely am like, oh, it's so terrible is the fucking the when she goes, tell me like what's going on, like who are we, what are we doing, and he goes, you are an operative, and blah, blah, blah. And then it goes into total video game mode
Yeah, it
to where
does.
it's like, here's all the exposition in this
it's a
horribly
cutscene. It's a cutscene, Paul, okay?
horribly graphic looking. I'm like, did they want this to look like cheesy video
Oh no,
game?
my
Like,
favorite
was
one
that
of
a-
those is when they're finally at the Red Queen's thing and it's
They're running?
Alice. No, it's Alice in front of the door and like you see her like
Oh,
red
yeah.
boobs.
You see her body or heat signature.
It's so like
I think there's one where like it pans out again and it's like going around and then it zooms in and has
Oh, they're
like
running,
the
yeah.
two runs that are running and then it comes into the hallway with them or whatever and I'm like, Did they want it to look this cheesy? Like, why? Like,
I don't know, man. At a certain point, they're in there, right?
Yeah.
And she's looking at her watch. She's like, "We got 20 minutes." I'm like, this is just your home now.
Yeah.
That's just your home. I don't know why.
You're just saying if it's just 20 minutes left, just give up.
I mean, yeah, I would. Like I said, I'm not a follower. So if I'm like, I mean, at that point, what are you going to do? Especially if I'm Rain. I'm like, I'm just going to hang out here, guys.
Yeah.
I'm infected. I mean,
again, there's a lot of little things to love about this movie. One of the other things I love is at the end when Rain is sitting there and she's like dying and she falls asleep. It's like when I go shoot me.
yeah.
And she just falls asleep, and you see Alice get the gun. She's
She gets narcolepsy.
I got to do this, and she cocks the gun, and she's like, "I'm not dead yet."
Yeah.
We're like, you weren't giving me any indication that you weren't dead. You're like half dead.
Yeah, especially don't say if I turn, kill me, and then fall asleep right after.
Yeah.
No.
Like that's not like if you're dying, don't fall asleep.
And I'm
It's
always
like, I know you're suffering from a ton of blood loss, but still.
Exactly. And like she just put something into her body. So she gets the shot, right? She gets
Yeah,
the
she gets
shot, and I'm like, I
the-
get it, but you don't. That's not when you.
I
fall
love how they
asleep.
just
Yeah.
have that one needle gun for everyone to use.
I know.
It was like, okay,
I know.
this is-
I'm like, just baby, clean it off. I don't know.
I'm like, I know we both had the T
Wipe it
virus,
on your dress.
but if you have herpes on top of that, I don't want that.
Yeah.
Okay, so T virus is one thing, but if we can fix that without giving me
No.
herpes,
It's like, did we not learn anything from the 80s and
I don't
90s?
want
Do
Hep
not share
C.
needles.
have you guys not seen the crazies? This is not how we.
Yes.
It's, ugh. Yeah, communicable diseases. No, no, thank you.
But again,
here's a tip too: if you have one vial of toxin or virus or whatever you want to call that, make like 3 anti for that one vial, like 3 each. Like there shouldn't be an equal number of like we have 5 of these and 5 of these. Okay, but what if we lose one of these? Well, then that 5th one is fucked, I guess.
Yeah.
There's no. So we want this to get out and kill everyone. Is what
And
you're saying.
I was confused about what Spence's like whole. I'm gonna break this. Why? Like, if you just wanted to steal it and sell it, right? Like,
Yeah.
why did you break that, and why did you want to kill the whole hive?
I don't know. I think it might have been like the ultimate fuck you to Umbrella, because like now I'm gonna be rich.
kind of that, and you're creating a diversion for you to get out of the building too.
Yeah.
Well,
But
his
obviously it didn't fucking
diversion
work.
trapped him
Yeah.
in
Well,
there.
that's the thing he
Well,
says later,
yeah.
because he was like, I didn't realize her defenses went out to all the way out to the whatever.
The house, yeah.
That there were other fail safes.
Well, that was
Yeah.
your own dumbass fault, stupid.
Well, see, you thought you knew everything, and then you got fucked at the end.
No, I love when she first wakes up and she's looking through her drawers, and she opens them and it's all like white, and I'm like, nope. Serial killers live here.
Yes.
If your drawers look
Is
like that,
this?
you are a serial murderer. I'm sorry. I have to
Yeah.
tell you this. You kill people for fun.
Because real life taught us anything. Your drawers are not that neatly folded.
I mean, whose whites are even all in one spot? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, if you have a house that big, then you have people to do shit for you. Okay,
That's
so
true.
then that's why your house looks like that.
That's true. But by the time she gets to that gun drawer, I was like, yep, see, serial killer.
See?
That's like
she's a
some
security officer.
Richard Bateman? Is that what his name is in American Psycho?
Is it Patrick?
Patrick Bateman.
Patrick Bateman.
Who's Richard Bateman?
I don't know.
That is.
Some dude I made up in my head.
Yes.
But again, a lot of the little subtleties that I love
Dick
about it, though,
Bateman.
too, is how when they shut down the Red Queen and then all the zombies start showing up and they're like, where the fuck did all these people come from? And then I believe it was either Rain or Alice.
It's
says-
Rain. She's like, you let
She's
it
like,
out,
you.
fucker.
He's like, you. Everybody was locked in, and you let them out by resetting them. It's like, what the fuck did you think was going to happen? And that was another.
Like they didn't think about this fucking plan like at all.
Nope.
And that was another thing that from the video games that always had something where you turn something off, and something else turns on.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like a little throwback to the game.
Yeah, and there's the thing. Like, okay, I get that it's a video game thing, and it's a
Yeah.
video game trope because you have to have it because it's a video game trope because
Yeah.
that's how fucking video games work. But I'm like, when you transition things like this, like things have to make a little bit more sense. Like, I don't know. That's how I feel like if you're gonna adapt a video game, like you
Yeah.
can't put complete video game rules in a movie.
I don't know, Paul. We've seen some
know,
movies that
man.
don't make any sense.
No.
So
But that's what I'm saying. If you want your shit to make sense, you have to know the rules to know how to break them properly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, I think it also like the other thing about it though too is Paul. I know you said you read the trivia about it though, but one of the things that they abandoned early or late into the shooting of the movie was there was going to be a white queen, red queen. They're going to play off of because it's a play off of Alice in Wonderland. Mm-hmm. Because obviously the red queen's the one that wants to kill everybody, but so there was supposed to be a white queen that helped the team get down into the hive to shut the red queen down.
Is that part of the video game?
No.
So
actually, wait. I
think it might be part of the game.
I think it might be part of the game, but it's been years since I played the game. But there's supposed to be a yin and yang to everything. So obviously, they have the failsafe to, okay, if this gets out, we have to do this. But at the same time,
there's a failsafe for the failsafe.
Yes.
Well, their failsafes fucking failed. So all their Umbrella's stupid. Right?
You can't have failsafe for your failsafe if both failsafes activate and it just ends up in a draw and the humans are dead. Like that doesn't fucking save anyone.
Yeah, no.
Like it should be my ass as the human controlling the failsafe should be first and foremost. So if all these dead people are dead, just give us a communication outside that says, here's why they're dead. Here's why you're not going in there.
And nobody should ever go in here. We're just gonna close it, seal it.
Operation fill this whole thing with cement. Go.
We're gonna tell your family something.
Yep.
You got shipped to Tunisia.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And then we'll send them a nice little box of ashes. Somebody's ashes, not yours, because yours are clearly in the hive still. Wow. But I do think this movie could have used a little bit more gore. I do love the gory scenes, like I said, when they do the liquor, when they have the practical effects, but the dogs are also a high point in this.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of it's practical. And there is some CGI with the dog, like when she kicks the dog. Obviously, she's not kicking the dog. But I loved the way they were dressed and how they looked. They looked like how I imagined dogs would look like from The Simpsons when they turned inside out.
Zombie dogs?
No, there's that Simpsons.
Oh, yeah,
when they turn
inside out.
The cloud
turns them inside out.
Yeah.
Like I said, when we did that the night or the gift or whatever.
Yeah, Silent Night.
Silent Night. They had issues with the dogs because the dogs kept licking each other because it was like meat and sauces and like so they had trouble keeping them sauced and meat.
Like you look tasty, I'm gonna eat it.
What is that?
Yeah, exactly. How do you
like,
even train dogs?
Okay,
dogs
we
still
need
a dog.
to shoot after they eat.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. They're apparently, from what I was reading in the trivia stuff, there's apparently a lot more stuff that they did kind of film or that they wanted, and there was definitely different drafts of the director's version where it was more gory, and they were going to include some other stuff and all this and that. Like,
but I think they pushed it to what I think an NC-17.
It would have been an NC-17, and that's one of the reasons why Romero kind of left the project because his was
that's something
more dark and everything. But the studio was like, if we do it with Romero, we're going to get NC-17, and we wanted to not be that, so they wanted to go with someone else, and they wanted a PG. But then Paul W.S. Anderson was like, "No, this has to be an R."
A PG,
yeah,
a PG-13.
They wanted a PG-13. They wanted younger,
they wanted
audience, video gamers and stuff like that. But then the director was like, "No, this needs to stay true to the game and be a little more gory."
Which I found funny because they wanted a PG-13, but the games at the time were rated M for mature because of all the blood and guts and all that.
Isn't
stuff.
that a 17 rating M for mature? Yeah.
Yes. So it's like you want to market it towards the video game market, but your video game market was already for mature adults.
I'm just really convinced at this point that movie studios are just pulling fucking shit out of a hat. They don't really
because it was like we don't want to alienate the gamers, and I'm like, but the game is already
Who do you think gamers are?
Yeah,
but they're already playing this gory, violent game, and you want to dumb that down. Like that doesn't make sense. I mean, at least he was able to talk them out of it and to get the R. But apparently, there was more stuff. Like there was more nudity, more gore, more violence. But they all that cut stuff.
Yeah.
He had said that he wanted to release a director's cut, but apparently never did.
The one thing I did see, you probably saw it on there too, is apparently there is a VHS cut that has not seen the light of day since it was put out there. So someone owns some
VHS somewhere.
I know VHSs were even almost dead by 2002
because they renamed it. They gave it a different name. It was like Resident Evil.
It was supposed to be Resident Evil Ground Zero, but they were like, we probably shouldn't say Ground Zero because this was 2002.
Yeah,
but I think the VHS was called Resident Evil. I want to say Genesis.
I think it was Genesis. Yeah, which they ended up. I think they ended up using that title later, or was that one of the games? I think
it was a game.
So I don't know. Yeah. So,
but yeah, there was a lot. Let's talk about it because Paul mentioned it. Romero was the one who was initially attached to this movie back, I think, in '99, And what he wanted to do was make it like a batshit crazy, put everybody from the video game into the movie, which they gradually introduced throughout the series. But he was like, no, give me everybody. I want them in this one.
Yeah.
But kind of like one of the things that kind of cooler heads prevail or studio heads prevail is we're like, no, we can probably do a franchise out of this depending on how it does.
I think they were worried about the budget skyrocketing if you put too many creatures into it, like that.
Because they wanted Nemesis in there, which we saw in the second one. They wanted the more advanced version of the Lickers, which we saw in the later versions of it. So it's like he wanted to do all of it in one. But like Paul said, it just would have ballooned the budget, and they would have been like, "We can't do this. This is way too much."
I think it's interesting now that we're in the age of movies like Spider-Man: No Way Home, right? Where people like multiverse things, people like all their characters together, people are enjoying that. I'm wondering if that will continue on into the future because they're making money.
Yeah. Well, I don't think any of us have seen the reboot of Resident Evil. Welcome to Raccoon City?
I haven't seen it. I like the people in it. They're not terrible.
But from what I do know of the reboot, a lot of the main characters from the game are in it that were later introduced in this series.
Yeah.
So you have your Chris Redfield, your Jill Valentine, your Leon Kennedy in Welcome to Raccoon City, which were later introduced in the movie franchise.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember any of those characters from the movie franchise.
There's another piece of another scriptwriter, the guy that wrote Wrong Turn and apparently Halloween 4, he pitched, or I don't know if he wrote a script, but it was a different version of Resident Evil before
Paul W.S. came on. I think
4 was Jamie's first one, right? Halloween 4?
I believe so.
Was Jamie, the little girl, Jamie's first one? Okay.
But I think his was going to be like dark and batshit crazy. So I'm going to read some of the things it said. At the time, some of the scenes from McElroy's script, which were described in articles, included more action sequences with zombies and zombie dogs, during which team members would keep running out of more and more ammo. Team sneaking through area full of corpses without knowing which ones could be zombies. Team gets cornered between the zombies and giant tarantula right when they ran out of ammo. Team gets trapped inside service elevator while being surrounded by giant hornets. Jill Valentine's shower scene, during which she possibly would be stalked by a monster while not having any weapons and being completely defenseless. Now, that Jill Valentine scene apparently was, I think, one that either Paul W.S. Anderson filmed or was included in one of his original scripts. Mm-hmm. And what I was reading about that scene was, it was where she's in the shower or whatever, and this monster comes out and attacks her, and she has to fight him like completely nude and like in this crazy battle scene because she has no weapons because obviously she's in the fucking shower, like a vulnerable place for you to be fucking attacked, besides seeking shit, I guess.
Which they do in Zombieland.
Yeah.
So apparently it was just like this crazy scene. So like I don't know if that's one of the ones, like I said, if he filmed that he was talking about including in like the director's cut.
They talked about it, but they didn't. They never cast Jill Valentine until the second one because they couldn't find someone to accept the role because of the nudity it required.
Yeah,
it's action nudity too. So I mean, it's not like you're just laying on the floor naked. Like
it's one thing if you're an actress and you're like, I'm comfortable doing nude, and be like, all right, I can.
But
lay
if I'm
here.
labias are flying, man.
If you're laying here, like I can look beautiful and desirable, and my stock will go up in Hollywood, right? I'm just laying here looking beautiful. But if like no one, naked or otherwise, looks beautiful fighting.
No.
Like, even an action movie. Like, if you watch this action movie, like, you look at people's faces, like, it looks like, oh, shit, oh, shit, oh, shit. Like,
and just, like, I mean, body movements in general aren't flattering to a body.
No.
If you've ever seen anybody run in the nude, you know that people should not run in the nude.
If you've ever seen anyone nude skydive, that is the most hilariously gross thing to watch.
Yes, it is.
Especially boobs are the funniest thing to look at.
Because they invert and you're like, oh no.
They either make these weird inverted cups or like they kind of just go like flat.
Tits up, yep. Tits up. That's where they got that from. Was
there you go,
tits
up. Just jump out of the plane.
Jump out the plane. Your tits just go to the side and point to the sky because that's what happens,
what
right?
are you going to do?
And I mean, if you've seen a dude like balls flying through the air, no, like Nobody should be doing stuff in the nude on film.
Just, yeah. No, I don't know.
Unless it's a real money shot.
You're really alienating some of our audience, I think.
Why?
But if anything, I think we did still get a pretty good movie. Like,
Oh yeah, I definitely love this. Going back to the cringy things, because I do love this movie, but I do find a cringy. I've always found the end when she's like, when Matt starts getting, he starts mutating and being infected. He's just like, no, I'm not losing anybody else, and I'm like, oh.
He's like, how can you want to save this dude who is having things grow out of his arm?
Not even
like
that, but
tentacles.
he sent his little sister in there and got her killed.
Yeah.
Well, okay. He was like, if I can't go there, they'll know me. But I'm like, but then you thought this fake badge would work
I know.
later on?
He even says it too. It's like, if they would have done a little bit more investigating, they would have found me out. But it was just this.
Apparently, that was an homage to a different character in one of the video games. Because apparently, the whole thing where he says, I just transferred, I'm probably not in the system. Like, I guess one of the video games starts with some cop who transfers to Raccoon
Leon,
City, and it was his first day, and then shit breaks loose, I guess. So.
Yeah.
That's a rough first day.
That's always fun. Never mind. Transfer him back.
It's out of my pay grade, bitches.
It's my first day.
I haven't even been through orientation yet.
I don't even know where to get lunch.
I haven't got my benefits packet. Nothing.
It's like, I haven't met any of my coworkers, and I'm already in a zombie apocalypse. What the fuck?
Yeah. See, I'm not. Maybe it's because we've been through a pandemic, but at the first sign of shit, I'm like, nope. That seems like it's gonna get out of hand. I ain't
You're like,
going
I'm
in
out.
there.
You're like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to have some kind of dedication to go into a place that's been sealed and the computer systems murdered everyone.
I don't even like if I go to the grocery store and the line's still long, I'm like, do I really need this shit? 'Cause I might just leave the cart right now. But that's how willing I am to just drop and run at shit. Like that's so if there's any shit in the magnitude of fucking zombie apocalypse ever, I'm like, nope, we're out of here.
Like
we were gone 2 weeks ago.
It's like, I really don't need these socks, even though those I have a whole bunch of holes in them. Yeah, I'm gonna leave these here.
It's just gonna go. If people are being so crazy these days, if I'm out, I'm like, that guy looks suspicious. I'm just out.
I've left the Dollar Tree before. I'm like, okay, are they gonna open a second line? Nope. All right, well, I'm leaving.
No, I've seen some creepy people. I'm like, that guy might kill everyone in here. I'm gonna
saving a few dollars is not worth this right now. I'm gonna go to a nice.
It's like my
put my
time is
pizza
worth
rolls
more.
back and save my own life. Get out of here right now.
Good luck to you all.
This is horrible.
You are horrible. It's like the Frighteners. You see the number on the people. Like,
Yes,
all right,
exactly.
well, I'm
Peace,
out.
bro.
I ain't gonna be 12.
Exactly.
So,
But no, this movie is so great. I love this movie. As we've said, the rest of them run off the rails, but this one, so fun. Such a classic 2000s horror film.
Yes.
Like, it gives you all the colors, all the homages.
the shitty graphics, or what do you call that? I feel like it's those horrible reenactments you get in true crime, fucking Dateline NBC.
Yes.
Those. Remember you used to have those, and it'd
Those
be
computer-generated models.
Yeah, those computer-generated ones where it'd be like, and then the killer came into the room, and it's
It's like, we've run this program to simulate what it would have been.
Simulation.
My favorite
Do you
one-
really need to tell us it's a fucking simulation if these
I
are
know.
weirdly shaped hexagons stacked on top of each other?
I always love the bullet following the bullet. It's following the line. This
You get
is the
the-
trajectory. Well, thank you, because I wouldn't notice what that
You can
was.
see this line.
But hey, maybe people are really stupid and need to walk through those. I don't know.
See, it makes me question, how bad was the fucking graphic design shit 20 years ago that this is what we had in this movie? I don't remember it being that bad 20 years ago.
Neither do I.
You never do, though,
I
because you
don't,
were
though.
in it. You never do.
Plus, we weren't watching it on HD TVs back then. I mean, that's for sure.
Yeah, the one that I noticed the most, because I watched the movie so much when I was a little kid, is Jurassic Park. And you go back and you're like, those dinosaurs, I don't remember them looking that fake.
Yeah.
In the CGI parts, because they did have the practical,
They had a lot of practical effects.
yeah, they had a lot of, I think the T-Rex was practical, but some of the big ones,
with the raptor.
yeah, the raptors, and when they get there and they see them all at that lake and they're all
Oh, yeah.
standing there.
Oh, that's, when you
Yeah.
watch that scene now, I'm like, geez.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing that I read somewhere where they're saying is you don't know bad CGI until you see bad CGI, because at the time you have nothing to compare it to.
Yeah.
So once you
Well,
get
that was the fucking millions of dollar blockbuster
Yeah.
they spent on Jurassic Park, and it's a fucking Steven Spielberg movie. So I'm sure that was fucking cutting edge CGI at the time.
because if you think about it now, if you look at the CGI we're dealing with right now, in 5, 10, 15 years from now, when we go back on it, we're probably going to be thinking the same thing. I was like, wow, that was at the time the best CGI, but when you look at it, you see how outdated it is.
Go watch Iron Man.
Yeah.
And you can tell it. Yeah, you can tell already. Like, oh, okay. Like it's not as bad as compared to these movies, obviously, but you can start to see it. You can be like already.
And I guess
Marvel
and also the other thing too with the advances in television. I mean, who would have thought back then we would be dealing in high def, 4K, and all that stuff?
Oh, even just the streaming capabilities we have now, like. Just the ability. Like, we used to have to go to a physical store to get movies.
The stuff you're trying to hide now, the stuff you're trying to hide then is being seen now because of what we have.
Yeah.
Here's my other issue with this movie.
Okay.
I know you have fail-safes, all right? Mm-hmm. And the plan was we're going to shut her off so then she'll have to reboot and everything will open back up, right?
Yeah.
But how come no one was like, okay, those boxes of monsters that we keep are going to be shut off, and then they're going to, just come out.
Well, they were kind of planning. They were planning for them to come out, though.
Who was planning for them to come out?
Umbrella.
Okay, so then what was the point of sending anyone in there?
To get it out?
To get what out?
The virus.
I don't think they were sending them in there. They were just sending them in there to reboot the system and to find out what happened. I don't think they went in there to get the virus.
If you know that rebooting the system, your only way to reboot this fucking system is to turn the electricity off, basically, then that's going to turn everything off. And I'm saying there's no one up top that works for Umbrella. It's like, okay, but if we turn the electricity off, our crates full of monsters are going to
Well, the only reason why that one
wake up.
Well, the only reason why that one got out is because they damaged that one box, remember?
No, that dude got out on his own because when the dude's pants were on fire and he was under the table, that's when the thing started taking the metal off of the thing.
Yeah, no, you're thinking of the one that explodes.
Yeah, because it damaged the one and that one got out.
No, that one gets out later. He gets himself out. The other one explodes.
Okay.
Come on, the dogs got out on their own.
Yeah.
So come on, these things were going to fucking get out no matter what.
Okay.
Especially that one that was going to get out no matter what. I mean, fucking... But yeah, the shot when he comes out of the crate first, I'm like, that's
and
so
I love
bad.
how they're like, we just took the T-virus and was like, fresh meat, just shove it in there, see what happens. That's what we did.
Yeah, let's shove it in this
We're
rabbit.
just gonna see what's gonna go on, and then it made this thing. That's not good. I really hope there's more thought process to it in science.
Well, we're just talking about the first one, but it's one of those things too where the further or the rabbit hole you go down with the other movies, they explain a whole lot of why the T-virus was come into place and why they sent the team down there to begin with.
Okay, but do you think that it makes me laugh that there's people like the dude that gets the coffee spilled on him, right? He's like, thank you. And then you work in the same place where 30 floors below you, there's everything's gonna turn into
there's
zombies.
monsters.
There's,
well, I don't think
this could end humanity. You think do those people know? Is what I'm saying?
I don't think so because here's the thing about it though. Because remember when they got
what the fuck do those people do there? Is what I'm saying.
I think they're oblivious because the one thing that points to my
customer service.
Yep.
To my point of them thinking that they're oblivious to it is because remember when they had the schematics and when they're in the room with all the boxes of the monsters, they're like, we're supposed to be in the dining room. This doesn't look like the dining room.
That was the dining room because those tubes were feeding all those things and keeping them sedated.
Yeah,
so those were feeding tubes.
Feeding tubes.
So, haha, it's the dining room. I don't know, but their intel was crap to say the least. I think either way.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dining hall. I love when they first get down in there and, or when they're waiting, when Rain and JD are waiting in the dining room for the team to come back.
Yeah.
You mean the first? Do you want to tell them?
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, I like when they find when Rain comes upon a survivor.
Well, the funny thing,
you shot her.
Yeah, she's like she was crazed.
She bit me.
She bit me, bitch.
She fucking bit me. The thing that I love about that though is when what is it, Spence Alice and Gaplin all come back. They're like, "Where's the rest of the team? We're not leaving without the rest of the team." Like, yeah, about that.
We're waiting till the rest of the team gets here.
You're gonna be waiting a long
And
time.
they do those quick 3 shots. It's like
Like,
they all look away. They all look
No,
down.
and I love
It's
how
like-
it's quick. She's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And then the zombies come,
That's
so they
when
can't talk.
That's when they have
about
that
it
one thing to
anymore.
call back. They're like, "Where are the bodies? What happened to the bodies?"
Yeah, because he's like, she was right here. She left.
Because they're dead. Okay, kind of like where? Show me the bodies because I want to see it. And they're like, they just disappeared. They were gone.
See, I don't know if it's Michelle Rodriguez's acting or if it's just the one-liners they gave her, but like it just throws me off. It's like just the way that I don't know if it's the way she delivers them, but it's just so cheesy to me.
I don't know. It seems to me like early on in her career, she took herself a little too serious.
Maybe that's what it was.
I don't know what the fuck you guys are talking about. She's a badass.
She is a badass, but I think she plays herself a little
she's
too
like
serious.
4'9".
You can be. Hey, I've known some spicy short people.
Yeah.
The shorter you are, the more spicy you have to be.
No, I don't know. No, she's not believable. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
That's her acting, maybe. I don't know.
No, you're allowed to not like her acting. I don't like a lot of people's acting. So
Yes, Andrew, we know.
And this really spawned video game movies because then they do Doom and then they did Max
Which was
Payne later.
terrible. Like, out of all the franchises that this spawned as far as movies, I think this one is probably like the most redeeming because they weren't all that bad. Like, compared to Doom, I don't know if you saw the Doom.
I never saw it. I played the game. I used to love Doom.
Well, The
Was
Rock
it-
was in it, which was already...
Yeah, and wasn't that back closer to his
was
Scorpion
it was one of his first
King.
movies. I want to say it was one of his first 5.
when we were in Scorpion King Age of CGI?
Yeah.
Yeesh.
I know it was, yeah, like I said, it was probably one of his first 5 movies.
Oh, I need to go right back and watch The Mummy 2 and see how terrible that CGI
Oh, it is horrible.
it was
Just-
bad then.
Just
Oh, my-
seeing it on fucking AMC sometimes. It did look
I don't
terrible.
remember. I don't think I've watched it on AMC in years.
Scorpion Rock is as bad, actually, if not worse, than you might remember it.
Oh, it was so bad. But yeah, the 2000s were wild.
It's
time.
basically on par with the recreation thing
Yeah.
we were talking about with the high.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, but that was Resident Evil, the first in our zombie month of movies.
the Dead Have Risen?
The part where Rain is like, when they turn when they turn the Red Queen back on, right?
Yeah.
They turn the Red Queen back on, and she's like, "I take it things aren't going well." She's like, "Let me have it." I'm like, just
Like,
stop.
fry the
Like,
bitch.
Why? Why? I'm like,
I
no.
love the
like,
Red Queen and her
like,
little
you're
British
not tough,
voice.
Rain. Shut up.
I love the little British kid. Like, it reanimates the body.
When she's like that glitchy little, you're all gonna die down here.
all
I'm like,
gonna
that's
die
straight
down
from the
here.
video game. I'm assuming.
I don't know. It was a core memory
It
for
felt
me.
it felt very video game-ish. Like,
I remember that from the trailer. Like,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
everywhere.
oh yeah. It's funny that they show the. I was reading a thing that says like the cover photo shows
Alice holding a
Alice
gun.
holding a gun that she never even uses in the movie, like at all.
Well, you read the thing about it, though. I think that's the guy who designed
It alludes to like the video game cover
Yeah.
or something, like because I guess that's what they use in the video game or something like
Yeah,
that.
that's one of the guns you can find.
So yeah, it's just I mean, there's little homages to the game, but it's like if you didn't play the game, like you're not going to pick up anything.
See,
It's
like I said,
because
that's-
they don't introduce anyone. I don't know anyone's
No,
name.
they don't say anybody's
Like,
name.
and all of a sudden, Alice is like, Rain. Oh my God, you're gonna die, Rain. I'm like, who the fuck is Rain? You haven't had anyone's name. I don't know who Rain is.
I know, they never say Alice.
I'm like, oh, her name is Rain. Yeah,
Yeah.
they never say Alice, and it's only the only reason you know is because it's in the credits, technically.
Yeah.
You know Spence because Alice says it.
Yeah.
And they
But
know
then again,
Kaplan
like, okay.
because they say his name. But
Yeah.
they don't introduce
They don't say
anyone.
anyone's name, but it's like everyone's talking about them. Like, hey, Jeff, what's going on? Like, who the fuck's Jeff? You know, like, who was that? It was my sister. Why'd you send her in here to die?
You're all a bunch of red shirts, clearly, to Umbrella Corporation.
Yeah, sorry to break it to you, Kaplan, but
You're a red shirt.
All you guys are red shirts.
no, like it was, yeah.
And you can miss him in here, but Lucius Malfoy is in this movie.
There's a couple
Lucius.
other.
Oh, his cameo.
Yeah.
He apparently was friends with the director, and that's why he came over because he was filming the tuxedo. At the
How did,
time.
okay, the one thing.
Tuxedo.
Speaking of director.
Yeah, wasn't the okay? I'm pretty sure the tuxedo was that horrible Jackie Chan movie where he gets the tuxedo and all of a sudden he could do martial
He can
arts
fight.
now.
I forgot that
He
even
can fight.
existed.
And he was a secret agent because something happened. Like it was basically Cars 2 where Mater gets mixed up with a different secret agent and he has to go undercover.
Except there's a magical tuxedo.
Except it's a magical tuxedo. Yes.
Yeah.
That's literally, I'm pretty sure what the movie was about. But anyway, he
Oh
was
my
filming
God.
that and he was like, oh, I'll come over and do this cameo for you as, the doctor or whatever, just, because he's friends with the director or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing we haven't mentioned yet, but everybody knows about, is this is where Mila Jovovich and Paul W.S. Anderson met and got married because of this movie.
Because she came in and was like, you need to make Alice a badass and rewrite the script. And he was like, I love you.
Yeah.
And then, they had kids. And the rest is history.
Yes.
I kept watching this movie and I don't know why. I don't know if it's just the look or the era or anything that I was thinking about this movie, but I just kept thinking, multipass?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then oddly enough, the chick in the elevator who gets her head chopped off, she's listed as Dr. Black. I mean, I don't know if that's a video game character or something, but that's who her character was listed as. Like, first of all, I don't know if it was because of this movie or where. Where's the first movie that you saw the elevator thing in? Because, I don't know. Like, we all have that fear. Like, nope, don't stick your head out there. Like, don't stick your head out. If you're in a situation, don't stick your fucking head out because you're going to get chopped off. Like, I remember that as a kid, I was like, it was one of those urban myths that old people told you.
I didn't have that.
Or if you saw that in a movie. But
Yeah.
no, everyone has that because even if you see that in a movie, you're like, nope, I know it's coming. It's gonna happen. You stick anything out of the elevator when you're in between floors like that, it's gonna get chopped off.
I don't remember the first one I saw.
But I'm saying
Speed was mine with the elevator thing.
Speed. I remember Speed. There's a scene in Mission Impossible. I think Emilio Estevez gets it with an elevator.
Emilio Estevez is in Mission Impossible.
I think so. I vaguely remember. It's
like the movie or the show?
The movie.
I don't remember
the first one.
I don't remember the first one. I don't think Tom Cruise is in it, so I didn't want to see it because he's wacko.
Well, this was before his Scientology.
No,
he was still wacko back then.
He was wacko before Scientology.
I think it was
his wackoness.
Emilio, I don't remember. Now you guys are making me second guess my core memory
so
here.
I'm thinking, so I just kept thinking multipass the whole time.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, that chick that played Dr. Black, the chick that gets her head chopped off in the elevator, she was actually a first-class stewardess in The Fifth Element. And she also played, I don't know if she was a vampire or just a random chick, but she was in Interview with the Vampire when they're in New Orleans in one of the scenes. And I think she was just one of the chicks that they
eat. Yeah, they eat her.
She's there in the mansion, I think, with Brad Pitt's. I don't know if he's Lestat or the other one. I don't know what fucking their names are. But yeah, he was one of those chicks, and then they burn the house and they leave. That's a movie we should do.
Interview.
Yeah. Are you going to look something up? Or
I am looking
What are you looking up?
Are we just rambling now?
Look up the tuxedo real quick.
The tuxedo.
Welcome back to Tuxedo the Podcast.
Tuxedo the Podcast. I think we're done. I can look this up later.
I don't even know what you're looking
Emilio
up.
Estevez is in Mission Impossible. I was correct.
I've never seen it. I told you.
I don't remember him. I don't remember.
I had to look it up because I was like, no, I remember this.
I don't remember
Happened in
Gordon Bombay in there.
1996.
You say Emilio Estevez, I think of 4 or 5 movies.
You know what I think of every time I think of Emilio Estevez?
Young Guns.
No. Every time
Mighty
I think
Ducks?
of the name Emilio Estevez, I for some reason think Emilio, Mr. Mighty Ducks and
I think Young Guns or I think Mighty Ducks.
I oddly think of those two and then Men at Work with Charlie Sheen. Such a horrible
This movie was too good for us to even shit on it. That's why we haven't talked about this movie very much. But Emilio Estevez was not in this 2000.
Yes.
He should have been.
He should have been. It could have been a wild part for him, is all I'm saying.
It would have turned into Scooby Doo, where it's this week's guest stars are the Mighty Ducks. And it's like, come on, team, we took a wrong turn somewhere.
We gotta go fight
there's
some zombies.
I don't know, Coach Bombay.
This year, Charlie, we gotta get out of Raccoon City.
Apparently, Barney is part of the team. Like,
That was this week's episode. We will see you next week for more Zombie Field April.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.